Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 510 and Doubeshot number 421. Two DC trades, both of which I own these things personally. This one I got is the stocking stuff I mentioned in my comic haul. Savage Hawkman, Volume 1, Darkness Rising. Collecting the first 8 issues of this 20-issue comic book. Yeah, this is also volume 1 of 2. Yep. Written by Tony S. Daniel and James Booney, with artwork by Philip Tan, and I think there's one other artist on here. Cliff Richards. Yep. And one thing I do appreciate, though, is I do give credit to Gardner Fox who created Hawkman, which he did do that back in the 40s. First, I want to talk about this new costume design. This is basically not the classic look that he's known for having. This is the redesign that Philip Tan gave him. I gotta say, the suit is really good. I actually do enjoy the suit. It's really good. The mace, on the other hand, is something else altogether. I appreciate the fact it's got a long handle. It looks like something... It's a bit odd, per se, the mace, but you can definitely say, yep, that's definitely the mace. Yep. Now, with this one, basically, with the new 52, basically, they decided to reboot this thing, and basically give Hawkman sort of a fresh restart in the current continuity. And instead of based out of, let's say, Midway City, or the city he was based out of in the previous Hawkman series, he's based out of New York City, for some strange reason. I have no idea why. And they do give him at least one recurring character who one character who appears in every single issue of the whole series. Her name is Emma, and she's the daughter of basically a college professor who basically, I think it's a college professor who actually hires Carter, and basically instead of being an archaeologist, well, a regular archaeologist like he normally is, he's a linguist. Okay, so he translates stuff, so it's kind of similar to what he's known for doing, but he's basically investigating alien spacecraft. Yep. And they have basically a few villains in here. Now, he does fight the Gentleman Ghost in here, but he looks really bizarre. Let me show you what the Gentleman Ghost looks like in here. So find it here. What's a good picture of the Gentleman Ghost? Let's see. Here we go. Here's the Gentleman Ghost. Yep. I'm glad the fact that Tony S. Daniel threw him in here, because he is a Hawkman villain, so why not throw in Gentleman Ghost? It's a pretty decent redesign, and after this series, he did pop up for the annual for Gotham Midnight, where he disappeared, and far as no hasn't popped up since then. And he also has a few other villains aside from, well, Gentleman Ghost. There's Morpheus, who's an alien who likes to infest people with other stuff. There's a few other villains named Asuka. Yeah, she's a villain in here. Asuka, Kang, and Monster Goon. Well, Monster Goon's not. Basically, it's just those two guys. With a guy named Terrence as sort of a supporting villain. Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise that he was actually the main villain. I got to hand it to Philip Tan in here. The artwork in here is really good, and it's a really interesting story. Tony S. Daniel does a great job with it, but for some reason, 4 issues in, James Booney comes in as the co-writer for the series, and this is one of 2 books I've seen where, after a short period of time, basically Tony S. Daniel being the writer, he brings in James Booney as the co-writer. The only other series I've seen him do it for is Deathstroke. Yep, Deathstroke. Yep. Of course, when the series starts out, basically, Hawkman just, takes off his armor, attempts to shoot it, attempts to destroy it. Didn't go too well. Got transported about 90 miles away. And he also apparently lost his power in his apartment. So yeah, it's a bit odd. And apparently his co-workers have no problem with the fact he's Hawkman. Now, the side effect is Carter Hall. Well, at this point anyway, still they do change it later on where it's actually the alien Hawkman, Kator Hall. But I'm curious though, where the heck is Hawkgirl in all this? Yeah, I'm I'm reading this like, okay, here's Hawkman, where's Hawkgirl? Maybe Tony has probably plans for him because I had heard that Rob Liefeld takes over after a brief period of time. Let me look it up here. But yeah, Tony S. Daniel does not stay on as a writer for very long for the series. No, he doesn't. I don't really know why he just doesn't. It's kind of the thing with the series Deathstroke, where he stays on the writer for that book for like 12 issues and just has his co-writer James Booney basically do the rest of the series. Excuse me. Yeah, he only stays on for the first 8 issues, and you won't believe who takes over as the writer right after he leaves. Rob Liefeld. I'm not kidding. Rob Liefeld takes over as the writer for the book, and it's one of 3 books he's given. This one along with Deathstroke and Firestorm of all things. Yeah, well, he didn't take over Firestorm. He was given 3 books like right after they ended his Hawkman, Hawk and Dove series. I just want to make sure the information is correct. But I know it was this series, Deathstroke, and there was one other one. Deathstroke he also did the artwork for some reason. I don't know why, but he did. Let's see. Oh yeah, he was also given Grifter. Yep, Grifter. Took over briefly as the writer for that book. That book got canceled at 16 issues. Well, this book got canceled after 20 issues. Overall, this by far is a good book. I don't really know why Tony S. Daniel was moved with the writer of the book, despite the fact at the same time this book was coming out, Tony S. Daniel was doing Detective Comics. Yeah, he was doing Detective Comics. And maybe they decided to change it up because, well, maybe the editors didn't like what Tony S. Daniel was doing. But this is awesome. I love this book. I think it's really good. For a lot of really early books in the 52, I did hear some praise for this one, where people did say this is actually one of the few good books DC published. Too bad it got canned after 20 issues, probably because of Rob Liefeld taking over the writing for the book. Yeah, it's always a little odd when Rob Liefeld takes over something, but yeah, after that, after all this book, Deathstroke and Grifter ended, he went back to Image, where he's still there to this very day, though he does occasionally go back to Marvel to do some other stuff. And that's Volume 1 of 2. Next up is Talon, Volume 1, Scourge of Owls, written by Scott Snyder, James Henry IV, with artwork by Gillian March. This trade collects issues 0 through 7. Issue 0, which is the origin story of this new character, Calvin Rose. Yeah, that's the character in this cover. Now, I do own basically a couple issues of this series, but I'm very happy to actually get this. I got this at a store named Ollie's, which was selling this trade. Now, the original cover price of this thing was $16.99. I got this for $2.99. I got this for dirt cheap. But despite the fact that this book I got for dirt cheap, it's in really good condition for a trade that is 5 years old. I want to be sure I'm correct about that. Actually, it's 4 years old. Excuse me. Yeah, 4 years old. With these issues, now this series, unlike let's say Savage Hawkman, which lasted for overall 21 issues, this book lasted for 18 issues. And I remember when the series got canceled, they canceled this series, Batman the Dark Knight, and Animal-Man to make room for Batman Eternal. The only theory I have is probably the series wasn't selling too well. Was this a terrible series? No. I love this series. I own several issues of this thing, and I'm very happy I got this trade. Now, the story for Calvin Rose is that he's a former escape artist for Haley Circus. What other famous superhero is known for from Haley Circus? Why, Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, who in this trade is still wearing his new 52 Nightwing costume. Sorry about that. My mother said to step in to get something from my room. Yep. Alright, where was I? Ah, yes. Talking about Calvin Rose. Now, he's working with a guy named Sebastian Clark to take down the Court of Owls. They do mention the events of Night of Owls in here at the very beginning, like, oh, this event, the Night of Owls, where several key officials in the city were killed by the Talons. Now, I was about to show up, basically, what Dick Grayson's Nightwing costume was during this period of time. From 2011 to 2014, this was Dick Grayson's Nightwing costume. This red, this black and red costume. I don't really know why they decided to change it for, but Danny Deal last year basically regretted doing that. Yep. He also regretted taking away Green Arrow's goatee. Yeah, I'm not kidding. He really did. Batman shows up in here at least twice. Yeah, twice. Shows up in that particular issue, plus issue 7. He shows up several times in the series, which I appreciate him doing that. I'll tell you the ending in a minute, but it's a bit of a jaw dropper at the ending of the series, the end of this trade. He goes to New York City to go look for Sarah, and I think it's Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea. That's her name. A mother and daughter, basically, he cares about. I think he's supposed to be his kid, this kid, but it's never explicitly revealed in the series. As also revealed halfway through, that Sebastian Clark is a former Grand Master of the Court of Owls. Yep. Now, for this series, basically having the Court of Owls part of the series, I don't have a problem with it, because it's called Talon, and the Talons are basically associated with the Court of Owls. In issue 2, they give Talon a reoccurring villain. Only one the entire series, because for half the time he just fights random Talons. But there's one Talon he fights who is actually a serial killer from the time of Jonah Hex. Yeah, if you read the Jonah Hex book, there is a serial killer going around Gotham City in the, I think it's supposed to be the 1870s, called the Gotham Butcher. They don't show him in the series, but it's revealed that this guy, the Gotham Butcher, is the guy killing people during the pages of All-Star Western. Let me show you what this guy looks like. He's freaking huge. This is the Gotham Butcher. Yeah, that's the Gotham Butcher. This big, hulking guy. This guy, I think, is supposed to be about 8 feet tall. Of course, he does get taken over with issue 12. And 10 issues after his debut. And he hunts him for pretty much almost every single appearance he usually gets killed off 10 issues after his debut. He appears for a good period of time. And I kept thinking that why can't Batman and Talon take on this guy? Because this is one tough Talon to take on. Yeah. And he does meet Batman here. He's like, I don't have time for this. I've got people that I love I gotta save. Batman, of course, is very prejudiced against Talons because what happened in Night of Owls crossover. And after he meets up with Sebastian Clark, who turns evil, Basically, he's allied with Bane of all people. And what does Bane do? He picks up Calvin Rose and snaps his neck with one hand. Though it gets resurrected next issue anyways. Yep. But this series is amazing. Oh, I almost forgot to give Scourge of Hawkman a rating. I gave that one a 9.5 out of 10. It's amazing. I give this book also a 9.5 out of 10. Great artwork, great storytelling. Calvin Rose is an interesting character. Though Batman's kind of a jerk, but he's kind of like that in every book he appears in. It's just the way he is. But it's just too bad, though. I got to point this out. Scott Snyder leaves after issue 7. Tynion has to do this series all by himself for the last 10 issues before they end the series. Though the series does do a brief crossover with Birds of Prey, when Christy Marks does the writing. Yep. The creator of Gem and the Holograms does Birds of Prey. Though this was the previous Birds of Prey, not the current book, done by the I think it's 2 sister writers who worked on the series, the 100. Yep. But I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really damn good. It's just too bad this great series ended. And then here's the weird thing: after the series ended, the guy only appeared twice. He popped up for one. He popped up 1 year later in the final issue of Batman Eternal, and then he popped up again. I think it was like the fall. I think it was about 2 years later. He pops up again. This time for the pencil issue of Batman and Robin Eternal for a one-page cameo. I mean, it's like, what, the Scott Snyder ever created this character or something? I don't know. It seems like no one wants to do anything with this character anymore. I wouldn't mind if he became part of the team Tipton Comics. After all, Tynion basically did help create the character. So, I kind of think, though, maybe they should have him appear in Tipton Comics. Who knows? But it just depends exactly what James Tynion wants to do after the Fall of Batman storyline and the trial of Batwoman. Depends what he wants to do. But this is good. If you can find this book, it'd be pretty simple to find. I think Barnes & Noble does still occasionally sell the trades for this thing. It's only 2 trades. And this series, despite having Scott Snyder leave, had Tynion for all the series. He wrote the entire series with Scott Snyder as a co-writer for the first 8 issues. But the last 10 issues, Tynion wrote by himself. But this is not the only series Tynion did. He also did Constantine the Hellblazer, and of course he's doing Tipton Comics now. When people thought of Tynion before I took over as a writer in Tipton Comics, a lot of the time people thought of him as the frequent co-collaborator for Scott Snyder. Some people, and Scott Snyder even thought of him as an apprentice. Even thought it was like yeah, this is what I heard from podcasts. That's how Scott Snyder describes him. Basically, he has it where Tynion is his apprentice, where he teaches him good stuff about Batman stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for episode number 511, and it will be just a single shot next episode, where it's definitely gonna be a Batman trade, and you'll be a little surprised exactly what it is. It's one of the 3 books Mass Panther gave me as a Christmas present. Well, I'll talk about that in the very next episode, okay? But until we see you in the next episode, bye.